Hello and welcome YouTube. Here we are for the question and answer video. Okay, so what I've done, I got all the questions submitted from Instagram, Twitter, from Facebook and from you guys on YouTube. What I've done is I wrote them all down on these little cards and I'm just going to read them the card and talk away. Okay, so without further ado, the first one comes in from Hayley on Instagram. Hi Hayley, how are you? And she's basically just given me some icebreakers. Okay, so favourite colour, purple. Favourite food, Indian. Favourite drink, gin and tonic. Favourite holiday destination is Portugal, and the favourite holiday I've ever had was probably my first time in New York. I went Madison Square Garden, Statue of Liberty, Central Park, a couple of baseball games, all the tourist spots. Really enjoyed it. Okay, great question Hayley, thank you. Okay, so Debbie from Twitter. Tell us 3 positive things about yourself and 3 negative, okay? So I'd say I was friendly, passionate and creative, okay, are probably the positives. The negatives are I can be highly self-critical, I never know how to quit, and I'm my own worst enemy. Next one comes from Blackjack Legacy. Hi Andy, how are you mate? And Andy asks, what's your favourite console and favourite game for it? I'm going to go a little bit further back from consoles, Andy, and I'm going to go to the microcomputer. I'm going to say the ZX Spectrum and Jetpack by Ultimate. Play the game. Great question, mate. Cheers. Okay, Paul on Twitter. Why did you get into YouTube? Great question, Paul. Thank you for that. Okay, well, a couple of months ago, I had a gap in my creative schedule. I used to run a retro gaming club here on the Wirral. Unfortunately, we had to close that, and that left a huge gap in my schedule. I've always been a fan of YouTube. I've always watched videos and stuff over like the last sort of 10 years, etc. You know, and it coincided with getting my new phone, the iPhone 6s. So what I was doing is I went on YouTube and I got a video review of the phone. I watched it, etc. And as what always happens with YouTube, you get like more videos, recommended videos and stuff. So it just so happened that the video that was recommended came up next, and it was basically shooting for YouTube on the iPhone 6s, or word to that effect. I'm paraphrasing. So I basically went along, I watched that video and I thought, you know what, why not, what the heck, I've got a couple of niche interests, being retro gaming and board gaming. I enjoy vlogging and I'm a people person. I put the whole lot together and I came up with the channel. Okay, thanks mate, I appreciate that. Okay, next comes the Pop Tart from YouTube. Hi mate, how are you? I'm a big fan of your stuff. Okay, and he wants to know, what else do you collect? Well, like I say, board games and retro games firstly. But of late, probably inspired by yourself and Mr. Barnes, Funko Pops. I ordered my first 2 the other day, and they'll probably appear on the channel in some kind of review or unboxing in the next couple of weeks. Okay mate, favourite ever gaming franchise? There are many, but at the moment, today, I'll probably say the Castlevania franchise. I really enjoy the games and the theme, etc. More so the earlier stuff, the Nintendo, Super Nintendo, stuff like that, not so much the later stuff. And this one made me smile. You've got to self-isolate with 3 people over the next 2 weeks, okay? So, which 3 people would you like, and which 3 people would you not, okay? Well, probably I'd need music, someone to entertain me, so I think I'd go with King Diamond, who's the lead singer of my favourite band, Merciful Fate. I'd need someone to help my spiritual progress, keep my spirits up, so I'd go the Dalai Lama of Tibet, His Holiness. And finally, I probably need someone to film it, so I'd go with my favourite vlogger, a guy I've got awesome, massive respect for, Mr. Casey Neistat. So it would probably go somewhere along the lines of, I'd be sitting off, having a bottle of Jack Daniels, doing tunes with King Diamond. The Dalai Lama would be on the floor, just talking absolute wisdom. I mean, who doesn't listen to what the Dalai Lama says? A beautiful human being, isn't he? And then finally, I'd have Casey walking around with all his fantastic angles, shooting it all. Okay. 3 people I wouldn't want to spend it with. Donald Trump. It's obvious, isn't it, really? Jedward, who were twins on X Factor a few years ago, a pair of Irish lads, completely and utterly irritating. I don't know which one I'd throttle first. It'd more than likely be killing with a tin of baked beans or something. Okay. And Prince Charles, because he's a dick. Okay, so I hope that answered your question there, Pop-Tart. So next one comes from Barry on Facebook. Hiya Barry, how are you mate? It's been a long time. And Barry wants to know, what is your worst habit? To be honest Barry, it's probably I overanalyse situations, I overthink things and I wind myself up. Hope that answers your question bud, hope you will. Okay, so Brian from Instagram. Hi Brian. What would you say was your strongest trait? Okay, I'd say my strongest trait was probably I'm a people person. I love people, communicating with people, finding out about people. I'm friendly, I'm helpful. And then it goes on to say, what would you say is your weakest trait? And I'd say, going back to a previous question, probably self-doubt. Nobody beats me up worse than myself. I'm the most highly self-critical person that I know. All right, mate, hope that answers your question, Brian. Claire from Twitter. How do you relax? The honest answer, Claire, is a bottle of gin. But the adult grown-up answer is I love to walk in the woods. I love to feel the wind through the trees, touch the bark. I love to feel the undergrowth, just breathe the oxygen in, the complete freedom. It really is my zen. Thank you for that. Okay, my son, Jordan. Hiya son, hope you're alright. Jordan wants to know, do you enjoy your channel and are you proud of it? Well, yes, first and foremost, I do enjoy it. I love YouTube. I love creating. I love doing. I love meeting people. I love promoting the YouTube community around my channel, stuff like that. Am I proud of it? Yeah, you know, I think I am because I challenge myself every day of the week to get in front of cameras, to come up with content, to stay to schedules. And in truth, I think that the proud factor will probably come after, say, the first 12 months. See if I've managed to hit my targets, numbers, views, videos made, and stuff like that. So yeah, I am proud, but not as proud as I am of you, son. Okay, thank you for that. Mark from Facebook. Hiya Mark, how are you mate? Been a long time. Are you planning on working with smaller companies to raise their awareness, i.e. Kickstarter? It's not something I started the channel out to do, to be honest Mark, but I wouldn't say no. I'd never say never. If a company come along to me, a small company, and sent me, for example, say a board game to review, I'd happily accept that and I'd happily review it with the one caveat that if I didn't like it, I would say so, and you know, I'd give an honest opinion. I wouldn't bullshit it. As long as they were alright with that, I'd be okay and everybody'd be happy. Okay? Are you planning on doing a tour of your own collectibles that we see in the background of your videos? I wasn't until this question, and I went away, I had a little bit of a think about it. I saw some of the stuff that folks see in the background, lightsabers, Star Wars ornaments, etc. And you know what, Mark, I think it's quite a good idea, mate. So I've got it scheduled for the end of the month, so look out for the last week in April, buddy. And finally, this one made me smile. There's a battle royale, okay? So Darth Vader, Darth Maul, Darth Revan and Kylo Ren. Who wins and why? Okay, well I think it's quite easy. Well, I don't know a lot about Revan, so I'd back off him. I'd say Vader'd be too slow. Kylo would be in the corner, probably broken his lightsaber or crying and having some pissy fit, some angst, emo moments. So I'm going to have to give it to Darth Maul there, Mark. He's a badass. Look at that lightsaber, man. You know, you can't argue, can you? Maul for the win. Thanks for that, mate. Really, really good imaginative questions. Diane from Facebook. Hi, Di, how are you? Been a long time again. I never seem to see you these days. Okay, so she says, what fear have you had and overcome, and how did you manage to do that? Excellent question, Diane. Okay, in a word, snakes. I was terrified and have been terrified of snakes since I was a child. However, knowing Dave, going to Dave's, having a few beers, meeting the snakes, handling them, find out a little bit more about them, finding out it's actually their behaviours and stuff, and you know, they're not actually sort of vicious per se. So a little bit of knowledge is a little bit of power. So that's how I basically got round that. But that said, if you watch the outtakes on the reptile video and the moment there with the boa constrictor, yeah, you know, I might be I might be retracting that slightly there. Are you superstitious? Yes and no. I don't do the whole Friday 13 thing. The 13 is like my lucky number, you know, as you know. So, however, I can't leave the house in the morning without doing certain things in certain orders. You know, 3 cups of coffee, teeth, shower, etc, etc. So yeah, maybe a little bit of OCD, maybe a little bit of superstition, who knows. Okay, and you know, last one, Diane. Your interest in gaming of all aspects. At what age did your interest start, and were you hooked by a particular game? Interesting question. Yeah, so it was a Saturday afternoon, probably similar to today, and I was out and about with a friend. We're talking circa 1978. I was about 8 years old, and we went to his mate's house, and we walked in, and the first thing I noticed was a table in the corner with a little black and white, black and white, shows our age here, Di, black and white portable, and on that was Space Invaders on the Atari 2600, and I think from that moment on, it just blew me away, and it's something that stayed with me even in later life. Nearly 50 years old, I still love games. Alright, they were great, thank you for that. Okay, so now we have Jamie from Instagram. Hiya Jamie, I hope you're doing well, mate. Favourite video you've ever made and why? Well, when I say ever made, I think this is the 21st. However, the content on the channel, in answer to your question, mate, I would have to say it would be the COVID-19 video I shot about 2 weeks ago. I picked this because it is real, you know. I went in raw, unedited, and I just uploaded it to YouTube. It was something that was on my mind, something that had been bothering me, causing a lot of anxiety like a lot of people. And so I just shot it. You know, it's had positive feedback, it's had negative feedback, opinions, we're all entitled to them, mate. But yeah, that was my favourite video for those reasons. Thank you for that. Okay, now we move to Adam from Twitter. Adam asks, what's your favourite joke? Well, Adam, I'm one of these people, you'll tell me a joke and 2 minutes later I'm going to forget it, right? I've got like a mind like a sieve, call it old age or whatever. However, one that does stay with me, my son was in nursery and he come home one day and he said, I've got a joke. What do you call a three-legged donkey? A wonky. Okay, so that's always stayed with me, and that is my favourite joke. Thanks for that. Okay, Dave from Facebook. Hiya Dave, this is our reptile man. You all know him from the reptile vlog. What's your favourite animal? It is Dave without a shadow of doubt, mate. Wolf. I love wolves. I've always loved wolves from as long as I can remember. They're beautiful. What is your biggest fear? You probably know this one, Dave, but I'll go public with it, mate. I think my biggest fear is having a breakdown again. I hit the wall in 2009 and it was horrific. It was like a train wreck. The Superman complex blown to absolute pieces. Counselling, CBT, medication for 5 years. Nearly cost me my marriage. It cost me a few friendships. It was a bad time. You know, I've come back over these like 11 years and brought it back round, but I always put it akin to an alcoholic, i.e. Being one drink away from a bender, you know. It only takes something that will start that snowball effect, which will lead to like devastating consequences. I mean, I'm aware of that because I have strategies that I use to combat that. But yeah, in answer to your question, mate, lose my marbles again. That was great. Cheers. Okay, Sarah from Facebook. Hiya Sarah, been a while. Hope you're all right. What inspired you to vlog? Oh, an interesting question. Right, okay, well, I've watched YouTube for many years, like I've said previously to other questions, and amongst the videos that are my favourites are vlogs. People like Casey Neistat, Peter McKinnon, The Content Bug, people like that. I'm a people person. I love to know what's going on with people at like a micro level, and vlogs provide that. So I suppose that when the channel come around 6 weeks ago, as well as the board and the retro games, it was just a natural extension of my personality maybe, and my love of them. Great question, cheers. Jessie from Instagram. Hi Jessie. Are you a morning person or a night owl? I am a morning person. I wake up approximately 6:30 every morning, grab my 3 coffees and start my day. Professionally, I'm a support worker and I do nights, so I could say night owl, but to be honest, I'd much rather be tucked up in bed. Definitely a morning person. Thank you for that, Jessie. Okay. Fireboard XTG5000, who's a YouTuber. I subscribe to his channel, he subscribes to mine. I like your stuff, mate. And he wants to know, do you like trading card games? If so, which ones? Yes and no. I've dabbled with Magic the Gathering. I bought, I think it's a 2015 core box set. Played a couple of games with my kids. I think the mechanics were a wee bit clunky. However, I played it on the Xbox, and because the machine can basically prompt you for like what phases, etc., I quite enjoy it. But it's not something I'd go to be honest, mate. I'm more a board or miniature card gamer. But good question. And he says, shot in the dark, do you watch anime? If so, which ones? Yes, I have, and yes, I currently am. I've watched some of the usual ones, you know, the usual answers, Akira, Cowboy Bebop, Vampire Hunter D, stuff like that. However, at the minute, I've got back into Ghost in the Shell. I'm watching a standalone Complex first TV series, and I'm really enjoying that. I love the artwork, the style. I love the, you know, it's like futuristic, like Blade Runner, which is like one of my favourite movies of all time. So yeah, I'm going to go Ghost in the Shell, mate. Thank you very much for your question. So we have Matthew on Instagram. Hi Matthew, hope you're well, mate. If you won the lottery tomorrow, what would you spend the winnings on? Okay, well, like everyone, you'd sort yourself, your family, your friends, make sure everybody was okay in a good financial position. Next, I live in a 2-bedroom flat. Small, but it works for me. However, it'd have to be an apartment. It'd have to be somewhere, maybe New York, somewhere a lot bigger, full up of gadgets, and obviously a YouTube studio. And I think I'd spend the rest of the money and the time on buying a minor league baseball team and sitting in the bleachers, drinking gin and tonic, and spending the rest of my days watching my baseball team. Hope that answers your question, mate. Okay, Jimmy Barnes. Hiya Jimmy, how are you, mate? Long time pal and fellow YouTuber. Are you into sports? If so, which ones and what teams do you follow? Yes, Jim, I am. I'm a massive fan of the Premier League. I'm a lifelong Everton fan. I follow my hometown team, Tranmere Rovers in Birkenhead in the Wirral. I look out for the results of Celtic, Barcelona, Sunderland. There is an in-joke there with a friend of mine, Mr. Andy Burdis of Blackjack Legacy. Hope you're doing well, fella. Aye, aye. And also Portimonense of the Primeira Liga in Portugal. The story behind that being, I go out to Portugal to see my in-laws with my wife and my son and stuff. Family holiday. And as in anywhere I go in the world, I always want to know who the local football team is, what's happening, etc. So where they're based on the Algarve in a place called Quarteira, one of the nearest football teams is 40 miles away in Portimao, which is Portimonense. So I took up an interest about 12 months ago, 18 months ago, having a look at Portimonense. I play FIFA, be a pro, and I play for Portimonense and stuff like that. So I also like American sports. I've been a massive fan of American football for 30 years. I played it. I used to play linebacker, if that means anything to anybody out there. I've been a fan of the San Francisco 49ers from day one. I like ice hockey, massive New York Rangers fan. Basketball, New York Knicks, again from mid-90s. And baseball, which is my passion out the four, and I'm a massive New York Mets fan. I had the privilege of going to the old Shea Stadium. They've now got a new stadium, but I went to Shea Stadium and watched 2 games there first time in New York along with some friends and stuff. So yeah, I'm a big sports fan. I'm one of these where I've always got my Sky Sports app on me, man, you know, transfer deadline day, stuff like that. I drive everybody mad about it, but I don't care, you know what I mean? I love sports. My life without sports, yeah, don't do me. Okay, another YouTuber, Georgia. Hiya Georgia, hope you're well. What do you like in people and what do you hate in people? Okay, so similar to a question I've received, but I like kind, caring, compassionate and loyal people. People who don't bullshit, you know? People who are just straightforward and to the point. Dislikes to be the mirror of that. I hate arrogant people. I don't like cocky people, bullshitters. I don't like people that victimise other people. People who, you know, unnecessarily are unkind to people to make themselves feel better. They're just low lives. So yeah, I prefer to like the nicer people in the world. Thank you very much for that, Georgia. Much appreciated. Not suitable for mum, another YouTuber. Fella, I'm enjoying your stuff. You ask, what music do you listen to? And any recommendations for stuff we may not have heard of before? Well, I'm predominantly metal and rock. I love stuff like Iron Maiden, Guns N' Roses, Marilyn Manson, Slayer, Anthrax, stuff like that. Merciful Fate, who are like my favourite band. However, I'm also a country boy at heart. I grew up on country music with my dad, so stuff like Glenn Campbell, Don Williams, Johnny Cash. I like Garth Brooks. The Italian in me says opera. I love opera. You know, I really do. It's yeah, I do. I love all sorts of music, and mainly 80s as well. Anything 80s, anything you can catch on like MTV, you know, the top 100 80s songs, stuff like that. Or I'll put it on my Echo Dot, and also I love the Eagles. So any recommendations for stuff you may not have heard of before? You may not have heard of Merciful Fate, mate. They're a satanic metal band. Go and give them, you know, go and have a look. Go and have a listen if that's your kind of thing. I think you may be a little bit of a metalhead, because I remember watching your video on the Iron Maiden Funko Pops. So yeah, go check that out, mate. Thank you for the question. Craig on Facebook. Hiya Craig, how are you, bud? Hope you're well. Are there any remastered HD remakes that you like? Okay, I'll be honest with you, Craig. I think you probably know that we had this conversation off camera at the club, at the Retro Gaming Club. I'm a big fan of the older games, and I think that for better or for worse, I think they should be left as they are. However, only yesterday, yesterday, I downloaded the Fable Anniversary off Xbox Live, and that's a HD remake, so I'm looking forward to sitting down and going through that again. I played and completed the original one on the Xbox back in the day. Thanks for that, mate. And we have come to the final question, and that is off Rachel, my friend off Facebook. Hiya Rach, how are you? Hope you're doing well today. What is your weirdest thing you've ever experienced? Well, in a nutshell, I was in a cemetery on a Saturday night with your mum. That sounds proper dodgy, that, doesn't it? Let me clarify before Rachel's mum Sarah comes round here and like beats me to death. Sarah and I were members of a paranormal team a long time ago, and we used to all hook up on like random nights. Yeah, and it was a particular Saturday night of all things, and we got out to do our investing. I can't remember why now, the old grey matter and stuff, but basically our stuff got cancelled, so we were out and about. We had all the gear in the car, a few people with us, so we ended up in this beautiful cemetery down in Chester, and we were walking around, you know, taking the sights in the tombstones, all this kind of thing, the layout and stuff, and getting the equipment on the go and stuff, you know, the way you do and stuff. And Sarah got the Ouija board out, and at the time, something I'd always wanted to do, but I'll be honest, I was a little bit weary of doing it, so I'd never used one. So Sarah does what Sarah does best. She's a very gifted lady, so she gets the board out and she's doing blah blah. So we come to the end of the session and she puts the board away, and before we'd started it was like really light. It was like a really well lit area, street lamps, you know, and stuff like that. So I turned around and said to Sarah, and I said to the guys, I said, is it just me or has it got darker in here? And Sarah said to me, you know, it was like the energy of the spirits and stuff, it kind of draws like the lights and stuff. And that was single-handedly, like, I think the weirdest experience I've ever had in my life. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've had like sort of spiritual experiences, good and bad. I met some weird people, and I love them because I love weird eccentric people, you know. I think that's why we get on. But yeah, so that's in answer to your question. And Sarah, if you're watching this, I hope you don't mind me sharing the story. Okay, guys, so that's the list of questions. We've managed to get through them fairly safe, I think. So I'd like to end the video by thanking everybody for submitting the questions first and foremost. I expected to only have about 10 of them, but it ended up like, I think 39 or 40. So massive thank you for that. That was absolutely brilliant. If you're still here watching the video, thank you. And I really hope you get to know me, you feel you know me a little bit better. And finally, without sound like a broken record, you know, if you haven't subscribed, please consider hitting that subscribe button, liking, sharing and commenting. That's all for now. Thanks a lot.